Greetings, greetings, greetings. No, we're not in the lab. We're not in the lab. We're not
I
in
don't
the
know
lab
who
at
caused
all.
that. Hold
We,
out there.
we-
Who hung out there?
all right. So what we about to do, Cheyenne, because you busy talking, we now on our show live. So Cheyenne, okay, thank you. And so and if Rabbi is joining us, Rabbi need to put his camera on. So again, I'm away. I'm away. You got to put your camera on to come on. But again, as I said, we are not in the lab. We're not in the lab, and we're not in JL headquarters. We're not in JL headquarters, and we are also right now in another part of our station, Hot 2100 Savannah. And so we are here right now. And so we are here. And so y'all know normally I'll be on the other side, but I won't have no light. So everybody checking out, run tell that because y'all know I put the war. Y'all know the Warrior jersey right on the other side, but we got IET right there in the back and Hot 2100 Savannah. So we're here in the HQ, we're in the headquarters, and we got with us some special guests. Y'all know all our guests are always special on Run Tell That. We got Sister Sara Garret. Sister Sara Garret, how are you?
I'm well, sir. How are you?
Doing excellent, doing excellent. And then we got Shyann Brantley Bryant, who did me wrong. But I'm going to leave that alone for right now. But it's going to probably come up at some point because you know how I do. So again, Shyann, how are you?
I'm fine. How are you, sir?
Doing excellent, doing excellent. And then also next, we got Brother Rabbi in the house. Rabbi, how are you? He's muted. So Rabbi, how are you? Okay, so we got somebody else who's joining us, and let y'all know this person joining us. He ain't got his camera on, and he's probably one of my greatest nemesis. One of my greatest nemesis. He will lie on me. I train at Hot 21. Excuse me, I'm about to say I train at Hot. Yeah. I train at 2717, the factory. I train there, and my nemesis is Coach Rob Deloach. Y'all know that because again, these beach high people be bothering me. Coach Deloach, how you doing today?
I'm doing all right, Doc. How you doing?
Glad to have you. Glad to have you. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And so, and Rabbi, I'm gonna say if you hit the mute button, I'm gonna try to unmute you myself. Let's see something. See if that works. All right. So, all right, yeah. So it still got you. Look like it still got you muted, Rabbi. Okay, so what we're gonna do, and so I'm gonna use Coach Rob Deloach as a guinea pig because all y'all know we tell people share. You can check us out on YouTube, Our Black Media. Again, we said share, and then also you can go to go to Julius Hall page on Facebook because again that's the best one. That's the easy one to go to, and you can also see the show. And we say again, we're glad to have all of y'all. And so I'm gonna do this right here because we got some newbies with us right now. So I don't want them to because it's all simple. So Coach Rob Deloach, who are you? Who are you?
Hey man, I'm the man that make things happen. I'm a shaker and a mover. From the 912, man. That's what I do. Make things happen.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. So now, Shyann, who are you?
I am Shyann, the mother of Dara S. Bryant.
Okay. All right. We're going to be getting deeper with this right here. And so, Sister Sara, who are you?
Say, I am Sara, wife of Keith and mother of 5.
See, Sara done already jumped to the other thing I was going to ask. I'm going to say, who are your people? So we're doing right now. Who are your people? That's right. So she said, Sara done threw it out there. So now I just going to throw it out there. So, Shyann, who are your people?
You my people. Right. And Rob my people.
From a long time ago.
Yeah.
Don't hate.
No. You know what's going on. See, y'all know in the black community, what we do, we have to do. So who your people are, the people naming their family members, they letting it be known because guess what happens?
Dog hating.
So no, what happens is this. People look at the show, they're gonna say, oh, you miss so-and-so grandchild, you such and such and so.
Sara, don't mind that.
And so that's what happens to now that comes the audience to connect with you. That's why we throw that out there. So Coach Rob Deloach, who are your people?
Did he go away or is it just me?
Who, Coach?
Dr. Jamal, you still here or you stepped away?
I'm still here, Coach. I'm still here.
Why would you step away?
Why would I be tortured like that? No, this is what I have to go through.
Hey, I'm still here.
So can you hear us, Coach?
Yeah, Doc. So you got to play games, man. Look here, man. I know how you do, Doc. I'm here.
So, Coach, who are your people?
Hey, my people are coast to coast. You know, I knew Shyann when she was a little girl, but she's a grown woman with some nice, fine, smart children. Shyann happens to know my brothers, and my sister that you threaten from time to time. And my sister have to come to my defense to make sure that we don't lay hands on you.
Well,
that's that HVP for most people who don't know. That stands for that Hitch Village Project.
That's the Hitch Village, Georgia. Hitch Village, Georgia.
We got our own city. We got our own city. We're not a part of Chatham County. We're not a part of Savannah. Yeah.
Look how Doc looking.
Yeah, Doc. Yeah, Doc. Yeah. We had our own mayor. We had our own pharmacy, our own grocery store, our own package stores. We had Walmart long before Walmart, Doc, where we from.
You not gonna stop him, Doc?
Hey, Doc had to get permission to come through there. Yeah. It's better known as Wheaton Street now.
I was frozen. That's what the deal is. And see that this is the deal.
Okay.
Because he got Sarah, he got Shyann, he just showing off right now. Usually I have better control over him because this ain't like his first time, but he just on a roll. So now we're gonna Rabbi, who are you and who your people, Rabbi?
I hear you now. I hear you. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Fantastic. I am Rabbi. My people, y'all are my people. What you mean?
And see now, Rabbi being just like them. When black folks do that, that's why I try to tell you. See, I tell you, y'all know when we say that, who's your family? That's what the people want to know. Because some of y'all know you're gonna get killed because your spouse is gonna be like, you ain't say nothing. I ain't gonna say nothing about my sister Ivy Deloach. But anyway.
That's okay, Doc. Everybody know. I got 30 years in the game with her, so yeah, everybody know.
Okay.
Hey, some things, that's understood.
Rabbi, Coach, Rabbi had the floor right now, okay?
Well, you call Ivy name, so Doc, I know you used to pushing people over, but you know, I'll see you Friday at 9.
Okay.
We'll see if the Rabbi can help you then.
Uh-oh.
All right, so we're gonna move on. Y'all see again. Y'all see how Run Tell That flows. People check out the show. Y'all know again, we were respectful for the past 2 weeks, but this week right here, it goes right back to because we got Coach Rob Deloach here. So, Rabbi, this is what I want to know. Who inspires you? What inspires you?
I can barely see, but I think I recognize Coach. The coach, you coach for Charles Ellis?
Yes, sir.
Okay, I know who I'm talking to.
We ain't doing all that right now.
I can't see. I'm trying to see who I'm talking to. My bad, Doc. Okay, you said what you ask me? Would you ask me? Ask me again.
I have never done this before on my own show. I've never done this before. But this is what happens.
Hey man,
Doc walked out that way.
I had to leave my own show. So Rabbi,
he left his own show. This is horrible.
I've never done that before. This is the first. Okay. This is history in the making on today. So Rabbi, what I want to know: who inspires you? What inspires you? Who inspires you? What inspires you?
Okay. Family has inspired me, and family inspires me. So I'm a country boy, son. I was raised by amazing people. My cousins and I always joked about our family. And you know, I know everybody's family. Every duck praises his own pond. But I have had an amazing family in that. What if I were compared to the day there was a distinct child adult barrier, and there was a lot of love. So, kids knew their place, and the adults around us all loved us. This whole new thing about mental health and mental wellness, I'm all for, and I agree a lot of people do need mental health. But if you really think about psychology at its basis, it's just somebody that's talking to
Rabbi,
you.
we're dealing with who inspires you right now. Cause I got other people too.
Okay, my bad.
Okay,
family inspires me. So I'm talking about family. Family inspires me.
Right, okay, all right. So, Shyann, who inspires you? What inspires you?
Who inspires me? I will say my 2 kids inspired me. They are my purpose and my reason. And they also what inspires me to be able to provide for them and put them in a situation where they don't have to endure the things I endure as a child. That will be my purpose.
All right, excellent. And we said everyone checking out the show, we say glad to have y'all. James, Aria, Sister Deidre, Sister Sarah. Who inspires you? What inspires you?
Same thing for me, sir. My husband and my kids is what inspires me, my family.
All right. So, Coach Rob Deloach, who inspires you? What inspires you?
The least, the lost, and the left out inspire me, and that comes from my granny, always trying to make sure that I leave this place better than I found it.
All right, absolutely, yes, indeed. So now we're gonna come to the last general question. Then we're gonna be flowing into some other things. So this question is, what song or songs give you that that when you hear that song, what song gives you that it could be one song or several songs. So Sarah, what song or songs give you that that when you hear it just takes you to another level?
I don't have a particular song, but actually I like techno music.
Okay.
Going back to Cali. We're going back to Cali.
CTE of corporate thugging. Until the day I die, that's the way it's gonna be. Thug motivation of bumping number 3.
Man. Hey Doc, man, I'm going simple, man. I'm going with Frankie Beverly, man. We are one. I got to keep it simple, man. I can't remember all the lyrics.
A good one. That's a good one.
All right, okay. And so, Rabbi,
Sarah was feeling that. Yeah, when you get in that car, you done had a long day. You need some Jeezy to get your mind back focused. Yeah.
Oh boy. So Rabbi, what song or songs give you that
Can't think of one in particular, Doc. I love good music though. So if it's driving, if it's bumping, I like everything from country to R&B. If it's got a good beat and it's saying something. It can be saying nothing. Matter of fact, if it's hitting. So I just love good music. Can't think of one in particular.
All right. So again, Mike, Mark, we're glad to have you all again. Always glad to have people who support us again. Like you say, share. And so a part of what we're doing this evening and this conversation is about how do we make successful children. And so I got to put this up right here for you all, just in general, for everyone checking this out. Frederick Douglass, he said, it is easier to build strong children than to repair broken men. This is from Frederick Douglass. Some call him the greatest leader of the 1800s.
Yes, it is.
So this is again from Douglass. And so what happened today, something happened today. I had to do this, which is you all gonna see some more of this on social media, but just in general. So today I was with some folks from, again, I did not want to necessarily be with them, but people had asked me to be with them. So I had to give them some of the history. And don't get it twisted about this shirt that you all see. Don't think that shirt is real. That shirt is not real. That was just made up. So again, that's made up shirt.
What that shirt said?
I can't read.
It says Savannah High Jackets. Like you say, jackets crossing.
It's tied to some people tied to Coach Rob Deloach. But then these are some young scholars that I had with me, some young scholars. And so we are here now to talk about creating successful children, young people. And so Coach Rob Deloach, we're going to throw it out to you first. What's your thoughts with regard to that? Because, and instead of doing that, because we're going to get deep in that, we're going to go to one of our breaks right now. We'll go to our break. Then we're going to come back to that again, having a conversation about creating successful children. So bear with us just for a second. We'll go here because again, the engineer not here, so I gotta do everything for myself. I'm the talent. That's how I tell them. I'm the talent.
Savannah, are you looking for some of the best Southern soul food? Then check out Kim's Cafe at 714 MLK Boulevard. The food is so good, you'll think that your mother cooked it. Located in the heart of Savannah, Kim's has a menu that includes breakfast anytime, lunch when you need it, and dinner so you won't have to cook when you get home. They also cater all types of events and can host your reserved event at the restaurant. Come see what everyone has been raving about. Great food, great atmosphere, and a great time. Kim's Cafe, 714 MLK Boulevard in beautiful downtown Savannah.
We are back. This is Run Tell That. We have with us Sara Garret. We have Shyann Brantley Bryant. We have with us Rabbi. We have Coach Rob Deloach with us. We're back. And so again, we said everyone share, share, share. And we say support those who support us. Davis Johnson Bozeman Law Firm's offices in Savannah, Atlanta, and Statesboro. One Price Cleaners located in the Farmers Market in Garden City on Highway 80. Kim's Cafe at 714 MLK Junior Boulevard. And Chef Food and Gas. Don't ride by, stop by. And on March 1st, that's when we have the Gullah Geechee African Ball happening again at the Priscilla Thomas Annex. And we say, check it all out. Again, people support us. So Coach Rob Deloach, we throw it out there to you because we've had these conversations about lazy parents, lazy children. So how do we create successful children? Coach Deloach?
There's no such thing as lazy kids. It's only lazy parents. And part of it is as a parent, what are you willing to sacrifice? And what is the vision for your children? And once you find out what's your why, then it's easy to navigate a path to what we call some success. And I've been fortunate enough to have some success with three, being able to go to college where I didn't have to pay anything because I invested on the front end, not only in the sports realm, but I sacrificed editorial. And I wish I had known Shyann back, 10, 15 years ago, because, she brings a different perspective in the way that she teaches, her young people. So for me, it was mentioned earlier that for my children and children that I come in contact with, it's always about them. And the way that I was raised and the things that I thought I was missing were actually a lesson. So to be able to give that, to my children and give it to other people's kids and inspire them is that you put the work in early, then you pay for the fruit of your labor. And I've been fortunate enough to see the fruit of my labor through making sacrifices for myself and my family.
All right. So Sara, how do we create successful children?
Well, I personally believe that the foundation of a child's life begins in their home. And the more people you can have around you, whether it's their mom and their dad or grandparents that are there to help reinforce your morals, your values, beliefs in those children's lives. I think that's very, very important. That's the foundation of all things in society is the family. And I think for me, I had my first child when I was 16. I've got five after that. But I think that in between me having all five of my kids, but there's some large gaps between them, I realized that you have to actually be the example that you want of what you want your children to be. Because children don't really tell them to do. They really do what they see you do. And I think that that's something I realized at a young age, just because I did have my first child at a young age. I realized that I had to be for her what I desired for her to become. I had to be an example for her. And I feel like that's something that's a lot of people don't understand about parenting.
Okay. All right. And Shyann, how do we create successful children?
hard work, sacrifices, structures, being engaged. Show them that you're interested in what they're interested in. Don't be their friend, be their leader. You know, give them something to look up to. Um, encourage them to, excuse me, encourage them to be their self, but also put morals and, you know, install morals in them. Show them the real life. Talk about real life issues. Talk about real life. Show them this is real life. A lot of kids, they imitate and they're excited about things they see on the internet, and that's the life that draws their attention. Because a lot of times parents like kind of seclude their kids from the truth. They allow them to use imagination at a big age, and imagination at a big age can turn into destruction, because what they see part of what's really going on. They don't really get to see the actual full picture. So introduce them to the full picture. Tell them this is how this goes. You know, a lot of people say certain things are adult talk, but in my household, with my kids, I don't hide things from them. I teach them real life issues. Tell them about real life. I'm not going to let outside raise my kids. I'm going to raise them. So I'm going to be the first one to introduce them to everything. If I don't introduce them to them, they're going to know some kind of connection about it. They're not going to walk into the world blinded. And I think that helps them and molds them and trains their mind. Also, give them a voice. A lot of times, adults tell kids, be quiet, be quiet. You know, shut up, shut up. Don't give them a chance to express themselves. And then when they do, people on the outside be like, oh, he being disrespectful, she being disrespectful. But I believe as long as you and the child having a conversation, that's not being disrespectful. Now, if they're saying in a disrespectful, derogatory manner, then yes, they're being disrespectful. But that's between you and your kid. Y'all have to set those boundaries on what's disrespectful and what's not, what's acceptable and what's not. I believe in freedom of speech because my kids are somebody. I don't like the idea when people think kids are no one. Kids are someone. If you don't teach them they're someone in their household, then when they get in the street, they're going to feel they're no one either. So those just my morals and my tactics that I use to raise my two black kids, boys.
All right. So, Rabbi, how do we create successful children?
Successful children, I guess for me, the first thing I think is professional or morally, because I think you can have either or both. Professionally, you want to create successful professional children. I think it's regimentation, structure, hard work, your discipline. You got the Jacksons, you got, your Tiger Woods, you got your whoever, you put structure there and you instill a work ethic and you drill it into them and create competitive hunger. I think ultimately you get successful children in that regard. If it's moral success, then I think that's love. That's love, and that's time. That's honesty. That's transparency, and that's teaching them a greater value of in life, in my regard, than professional success. I think we all want our children to be successful professionally, but we know we got some professional people that got very low morals. But I think you can do both. Like I said, from a professional standpoint, I think that's discipline and structure, and that's creating that hunger and that drive. However, you facilitate that by reward, you can do it by treat, or you can do it by just discipline. But morally, I think you got to live that. You got to be that example, because, like someone said earlier, kids see, and they know what's actually there. They know if you're talking about it and if you live it. So I think that you have to live in love and encourage. I think encouragement is one of the greatest things that you can that any child can get from anyone as far as success. When you tell them there's no limit, they don't believe that there's a limit.
Okay. And so now, Shyann, we come to you, starting out first. What made you invest in your children? What made you invest in your children? What was a part of the push that made you invest in your children?
Well, my son, I think I'm 26 years older than my first son. So at that time, what from my perspective, from where I stood in life, what I saw was not a good sight for young black men. I didn't want my son to be a part of it. He had a brother that got murdered at age 16 My son was 7 months, and he had a brother that got murdered. At that point, I knew that the life that I was familiar with, the life that I knew of, I knew that that was not the life I ever wanted him to live in. So at that point, I made a decision to alter my whole life, alter his surroundings, alter where he go at, who he be around, alter who's invited to my home. Just made a lot of alters in my life to save my kid. That's what I did at that point.
Okay, powerful, powerful. And so, Sara, what made you invest in your children? Invest in your children. What made you motivate you to get involved with regards to your children?
I think actually the example that my parents actually had set for me. I watched my mother and father were together during a very crazy time in our country. They had basically a prohibited relationship because they were a biracial couple. And my parents taught me that no matter what comes your way, you fight. And so even for me, like I said, getting pregnant at 16, my parents said, okay, you're going to figure it out. You're going to finish school and you're going to figure it out by yourself. And I did. So I think just me wanting to give my children more than what my parents were able to give me. My father didn't know his father. He grew up in the projects. My parents moved us out of that environment when I was about 9 years old, and exposed us to another way of life. Actually, they moved us because one of our neighbor's sons actually was murdered when he was about 16. And so my parents had enough of that. And so they said, we're gonna sacrifice whatever we need to get our kids, the six of us, to a better environment. And so watching my parents scrape and scrimp and do whatever they needed to for the six of us, I just didn't have any choice other than but to do the same thing for my children.
Okay. And so, Rabbi, what made you get involved and get vested in your children and your sons?
Like I said, I'm family. Family has always been a major part. So I just wanted to be more than what I had, and I had, good examples, and I just wanted to be, the next level of that for my children. So I have 5 boys, from 28-year-old twins who've been up under your tutelage, my older two, in Savannah State, and then my baby boys with me is 16. So I just wanted to be present in their lives. Wanted to be present. Wanted to be what I call on deck dads. And I think there are a lot of men that are present. They kind of have this whole thing with black men not being around, but to me, there's always a black man around in some capacity. To what level, what extent. So I wanted to be the best version of me for my children. So that meant being involved in all aspects of their lives and having them be able to come to me and talk to me the way my mother did. My dad was there, and I could always talk to my dad about anything, but my mom made it really easy. So I wanted to make it as easy for them to have a dad that talked to them as easy as a mom does.
Okay. So we now come to this. Education. Why is education important? And with regards to you all, why is education important to you all? And what are the forms of education? Because some people think about the formal and traditional, but I'm like, why is education important? And what are the forms of education? Because I want the people out there checking out the show. We got 786 people looking at the show that we want them now to understand that sometimes we just compartmentalize education. But again, why is education important? And what are the forms of education that you all been able to give and provide that insight to your young people? Again, successful young people. So, Rabbi, you first.
Education is paramount. The Bible says, "And all you'll get an understanding." So I think education gives us an understanding of a lot of things. I got some grievance with education the way it is. I think maybe it's getting better, but I was labeled gifted younger, so I got privy to this elite group of kids. And then as I grew up and life changed, and I kind of was out of that gifted group, and then later on back in it. So I got beat with education that we're all different. We realize kids learn to walk and talk different ages, but education kind of puts us all in one box. We're talking about school education. So I think education is important, but I think it's equally important to understand how we learn. We all learn differently. And then there's the outside of the education, which stuff that we learn from people that we're around or or trade. Like my dad was a skilled laborer, so I learned masonry and carpentry and that kind of stuff from growing up around him. I learned different things like that. But I think ultimately education is knowledge and learning, and that is the pinnacle of everything. The more you learn, the more you understand and able to meet life in any regard. So to be uneducated is to be ill-equipped.
Okay. And so, Shyann, education. Why is education important? And what are the forms of education?
Well, to me, why I would say education is important. I believe that's something that no one can take from you. No one can take your education, your knowledge from you. That's something that, like I said, they can strip you from anything else, but they can't take your knowledge. They can't take your education. That's something they can't take. That's something that can set you apart from being stereotyped, from being placed in certain statistics, by being knowledgeable and being educated. That's my belief in education. I believe that if you make yourself well-rounded in education, you can survive no matter what. You can survive. That's my belief. You can survive no matter what with education. From the aspect of types of education, I went to school for early childhood education, and when I went to school for early childhood education, I learned that babies learn from the womb. I learned that classical music stimulates the brain cells. I learned, there's scientific things that, scientific things that has been studied. I learned those things. So I kind of like use what I gained in school to help with my kids, to help mold their brains, to help stimulate their brains, to educate them, to build their brain cells, to give them knowledge. So, and I also believe education starts at home, that you can send your child to school every day, and you send your child to school every day, and then when they come home, you ask them a question, what did they learn? They're not able to tell you what they learned. Then you get upset with them. But the big mistake that the parents are missing in that step is, just because you sent them to school does not mean they got educated. Does not mean that that teacher taught them to their understanding level. As Rabbi said, I piggyback on that, everyone learns different. So as a parent, I would even take it as a parent. As a parent, your first thing is to understand how your kid learn. So when you go and speak to these teachers at these teacher conference, which parents don't take advantage of, you can actually speak to them and let them know, this is my child, this is how he learns, or this is how she learns. She learns better this way. Or if that teacher doesn't understand that, blatantly say, I can't work with your child, get your child moved out of that class. Don't allow your child to sit there and fail, because now you're going to get upset with your child because they're failing, but I blame it on the parent. You knew your child, you knew that teacher was not equipped for your child, but you did nothing to help your child. The parent is the first advocate for your child. I know schools hate to see me coming, and that's fine, because I am going to advocate for my child to whatever extent. There's no boundaries how far I'm going to take it about mine. So I'm going to be educated and knowledgeable enough on any system that my child is in. So when I approach you, you're not going to be able to pussyfoot me around and tell me this and that, because I'm going to come straight to you with legal laws, policies, and procedures. But I'm also going to know my child. And that's the big difference. These parents have to understand their kid first. You have to understand your kid first. Then you know how to hold the adults that's encountering with your kid's education. You know how to hold them accountable, because you know your child limits. And you can basically help your child by directing the teacher on how your child learns. And if, like I said, if they can't accommodate your child, they're not the teacher. Every teacher don't teach the way your child learns. I have a kid that's in college, and his last semester math teacher, he was not a teacher for my child. And I told my child, I don't like the way he teach, because I know my child. So it wasn't hard for him, but it wasn't difficult, but it was hard. Normally he just aced everything, but my child listened to his teacher. So however you teach him, that's the way he's going to do it. And if you say you have to do it my method, even though he know another method, he's not disobedient. He's going to follow your direction. Now, your direction might make him get a B in your class. Now, I'm upset because I know he could have got an A. But this is how you teach. So now he will never take a teacher class who teach different from the way that he learns. But that's a learning experience. But I caught on because I know the way my child learns. So my biggest thing is parents have to engage and actually sit and understand their kid. If you sit and understand your kid, casual conversation, you can pick up on how your kid thinks. You do it to anybody else and do it regularly in the street, you know. So that's my take on education. I hope I ain't went too far.
You gave out some things, and actually, you said something that I was going to ask another question, but after Sara finished, I got to throw it out there again. And so, because I know some people looking at this right now, you're going to have to give them some help, and that's why this next question after Sara finished, because again, education. Why is education important, and what are the forms of education?
Okay, I couldn't agree with her more. I'm 200%. I think so. For me, home is the first place where children learn, hands down. From the time that they're in their mother's womb, they're listening, everything. And so I don't think people understand just how vital that foundation in the home from 0 to 5 until they begin being formally educated, how much you can teach your children. Of all my 5 children that I'm blessed to have, they all have different learning styles as well. My 14-year-old son, highly gifted, he could read when he was 3. I taught him to read because I paid attention to how he learned from the time he was a baby. I was fortunate to be able to be at home with all my kids for the foundational years, juggling some time in the Army and some other things. But home truly is the foundation for all things. I feel like we have all been conditioned to think that we're just going to put our kids in some school and it's that teacher's job. They have to deal with what they're dealing with at their own homes, right? And I tell people all the time, God gave them children to you. Why should you ever think somebody else is going to care more about your son, your daughter than you? That makes no logical sense to me whatsoever. And I feel like a lot of us, we have been fed a lie, thinking that we need to be dependent on a whole bunch of somebody else besides us to train up our children in the way that they're to go. So for me, when I understood again, because I was still a little teenager learning myself, I realized this little baby is watching me. Like, because I was still at home, homeschooling myself till I graduated high school. And I used to sit my little daughter there, who's now 26 and got 2 grandsons with her. And she's realizing the same thing. My mama sacrificed for me and had me sitting right there while she was finishing high school. I had her sitting there next to me while I was finishing undergraduate school. I had her sitting with me right there when I went to grad school, And so for me, I just feel like if people truly understood the purpose, number one, of having children, that God gave them those children for a greater purpose than what really to grow you and to grow that child, and understand that home is that foundation. And study, like she said earlier, let your kids have a voice. Listen to them, because a lot of times kids, they pick up on way more sometimes than us busy adults do. They can discern some things, right? With schools or with teachers or different things. And then understanding that it's a sacrifice to sit with your kids up at night or to drive them to and from a better school or to drive around an old behind car like I do so that my kids can have the best education that they can get. It has to be a sacrifice. And just, again, nobody will ever, I'm not even saying should, will ever, ever, ever care more about your kids more than what you should. That's the end of it.
Okay. All right. And
Teray, can I say one thing before? I agree with her about the school. I apologize. I have to say this. My son went to a school on the island. He went to a school on the island, and I lived in Pooria.
Oh, we're losing
4 years. Did give him
Shyann.
Lost you.
Pregnant with my second child, and
Shyann.
On that transport while I was taking him back and forth to school.
Shyann.
And someone said,
Shyann, can
y'all
you
can't
hear
hear
me?
me?
Right. We just start over because you were zoning out.
Hold
So
on.
we need you to start back over.
I don't know, y'all. Wait, Dylan done knocked me off. Can y'all hear me now?
Yes. Uh-huh. Mm-hmm.
Hear you now.
Oh, can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you. We can hear you. We can hear you.
Stop using camera. I don't know.
Yeah, my camera
Oh.
broke a while ago.
We
Can
can
y'all
hear
hear
you,
me?
Savannah High. We can hear you, Savannah
You
High.
talking
We can
trash.
hear you.
Oh, y'all
We
hear
can
We
hear
can
me?
hear you.
Okay. So yeah, I used to drive Daryl from Pooler to Wilmington Island for 4 years.
Wow.
In the morning time and come back and get him in the evening. And I did it when I was pregnant with my last baby, and I had my last son in June, and Daryl started back school in August. So maybe like a month and a half. So I might wrap my newborn baby up and go and take Daryl to school, go back, tend to my baby, go back, pick Daryl for school. And I did it for 2 years before and 2 years after. I had my kid, and people's like, "Oh, why you drive him all the way out there? Oh, why you do this? Oh, that don't make sense." So if you think someone called and asked me, do I need help? And they didn't. But I did it for a purpose. I knew what my child needed. I knew he needed to be at a certain school to get certain things, and I made sacrifices. And a lot of times, no one's going to understand your sacrifices, but it's not for them to understand. At the end of the day, if y'all look at the Super Bowl game and if y'all seen Nolan and his mom out on that picture, and y'all, if y'all see how they spirit was lit up, how happy they were together, those are the moments you do it for. You don't do it for the moments of how people feel about you or how what someone says or you tired. You still do it when you still do it. You think about the greater it's going to be for your child. If your child is ultimately the goal to make them successful, to put them in a better situation, you're just going to do what's required.
Okay. All right. And so
Sorry, Jamal.
that's fine, Cheyenne. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna go to another break. We're gonna come right back. Just run tell that we got Rabbi with us. We got Sara Garret with us, Shyann Brantley Bryant with us. And so we're gonna be right back. Just run tell that.
Need your garments cleaned with care and with a professional touch? Then bring them to One Price Cleaners in Garden City at the Old Farmers Market on Highway 80. Service you can count on.
This is Run Tell That with Brother Rabbi, Sister Cheyenne, Sister Sara. And so we got another commercial we got to do, a break we got to do, and this is it right here. Hott 2100 Savannah and the world. Yes, that's the QR code. We're going to leave it up there for a second for y'all. You can go ahead, bam, go ahead and hit it. And so we got music 24 hours throughout the day and the night. We got it all happening for y'all. 24 hours, Hott 21 Savannah and the world. That is our radio station. And so that's why I'm in the HQ right now for Hott 2100 Savannah and the world. And so I was going to throw the question out first to Sister Garret. And so because we wind it down, because you know our show has only 57 minutes. We're the little brother show of all the shows on Our Black Media. The rest of shows have marathon. They have 5-hour shows, but I just got 57 minutes. So, but we got to throw this out there. So you all, and this was prompted because I had something else I was going to do, because I was going to get into with regard to the success that you all had. But I got to throw it out there because Cheyenne said something. And this is one of the most excruciating things that happen for some of us: fear. We have fear as parents. We have fear with regards to trying to address. You start talking about people, and I'm going to say this on the educational front, even on the medical front, and even on the other social fronts with regards to we have fear. And how do you, and that's why I'm going to ask you all, what are your thoughts with regards to helping people with regards to that fear? So Sara, we come to you first. What seed can you put out there to help someone to conquer that fear when it comes down to about their children? You're muted, Sara. We need to unmute you.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Okay.
I said, so God built me a little bit different. So I actually run toward fear. I'm that person that will run to a burning building. So I, and I think God, it just came natural for me to like challenges, whatever it might be, adversity. I think my parents just taught me, like I said, to fight no matter what. So for me, I think you just got to learn to do stuff afraid. I feel like if you're afraid, there's a blessing on the other side of it every time. So I run toward that fear because I know on the other side of it, once I push through that fear, that my blessing is waiting for me on the other side.
All right. So, Shyann, fear. What's the advice or suggestion you give to that person? Because sometimes people have that fear, and that's even that fear tied to educational systems, families, to churches, to all, just to the world in general.
Well, I mean, spiritually, you're not supposed to be afraid of things. If you want, spiritually, you shouldn't be afraid of things. But we human, and we do face fear. But I would say, if it's something about your kid, to your kid, you are everything. So to your kid, you are everything. So just with that, just knowing that to your kid, you are everything, that should cancel out your fear to help your kids in any aspect. That's how I feel about it as a kid. You have to find your reason, your purpose. Because if you could relate back to your reason, your purpose when you facing fear, then that reason, that purpose gonna give you what you need to get through it. That's
Okay.
just my belief.
All right. All right. Because again, we
And my
want to see.
reason, my purpose is my kids. So I relate everything back to my kids. Like that, I relate everything back to my kids. My health. If it's something my health, I'm gonna get it straight because my kids. If it's something about the education, I'm going head first. If you want to piss me off, my kids. So my kids is it. So you just have to find your purpose and your reason and stick to that when you're facing times of fear.
Okay. All right, Rabbi, what's the suggestion that you provide and give to someone out there to address the fear? Because you have parents who are fearful to address, from educators to, again, to medical providers, to anyone when it comes down to their children. What's the information you can give to that person?
Yeah, I'm kind of like Miss Sarah in regards to fear and fight or flight. I'm more fight than flight. But I think there's trepidation in all regards. I think love will push you. If you love and you're concerned enough, you will face fear. That's why I think mothers are mostly tenacious, because mothers will do some of the more, or any parent will, but mothers have known to face a lot of fears based out of love. So if you got enough love, I think it'll cause you to face your fears. But I think that's something, again, that you got to kind of have in you. Because so if we change it to, just small things. Like, I know sometimes a lot of mothers are afraid of lizards and stuff like that. So if they got boys, those boys grow up afraid of lizards because the mom's running and scared of lizards and stuff. But my sons, we grabbing everything. We bringing it all in: frogs, dogs, cats, squirrels, snakes. So I think you kind of got that thing where you got female fears and you got male fears. So I think that kind of two-parent home is a good thing, because kids learn to be courageous in both sides. Some things mom afraid of, some things dad afraid of. So I think it's kind of and fear definitely is learned. Fear is definitely learned. You learn to be afraid. You aren't naturally afraid of things. It's an experience or someone else's experience causes you to be afraid. So I think parents and adults in general just have to be courageous. I tell other men, because I'm particularly, around a lot of men. I try to be. I think we as men have to stop being afraid. Like, for instance, one quick thing: pulling your pants up. With the conversation I'd have in barbershops, I would say, "Hey man, listen, why don't we address these youth with pulling their pants up?" And I would have a barbershop full of men say, "Man, but these kids dangerous, man. Don't you know these songs?" And I said, "Man, listen, if we afraid about youth, how do we expect other races to be? If we're afraid to approach youth and tell them to pull their pants up, how do we expect other races to see them if we're afraid of it? We're treating them like dangerous animals." So I think that as men, we got to meet a lot of that fear, whatever, because we got to help the next household. My household has a man that's present, but next door the guy might be working. He might just be whatever. So I think if we lock arms and face those fears, we can kind of help that community parenting that we have that's not there because of a lot of fear.
Okay. All right. So now we're down to the last 7 minutes of the show. So you got 2 minutes. And this is for you to talk about the success you've had with regard to your young people. So each one, you got 2 minutes to talk about the success that you've had with the young people that you've had and you have in your atmosphere. So, Rabbi.
My success, I would say, my mom always said, boy, you can be a dummy, but manners and behavior, that's one thing. You know, I was my grandparents, my mom was educated, so not they were saying I could be dumb, but they always said behavior was something that you can always be decent and respectful and honorable. So my success with my boys, and the thing that I hear back from people is they always say my boys are incredibly mannerable. So I don't care where you are. If they don't sir and ma'am you, you got my permission to chin check them. I mean, you know how you can chin check them hard because they're going to be sir and ma'am wherever they go. So I believe manners and decency has been my success in raising my children.
Nick, you ain't tell me about Nicholas. Nicholas said, Jamal, tell them what I did. So I'm just saying. So now he's gonna tell me this 7 years later. No, excuse me, 5 years later. He's gonna tell me that. I can't did that in the class. Tell them what I did, Jamal. Okay,
if y'all ever meet Nicholas, y'all know Jamal is putting 100 on 10. He is the most docile, quiet. But I'll let him have that. I wish my son was that boisterous. My twins are quiet. They're super quiet.
But he did say, tell them what I did. So when y'all go to the Plus here at Banksmith down on River Street, off of River Street in Savannah, his sons, Gabriel and Nicholas, were two of the five that made that possible. And that was again, and so that was Nicholas.
Let me give you your honor too, brother Jamal. Nicholas is just in a letter said he's getting into the doctoral program at Georgia State, and I'm absolutely certain you are inspiration to him. So I want to thank you for your community part in raising my son.
And he's going to take it to another level, take it greater than what I can even imagine. That's what it's about, and that's the part of the joy. So Shyann, again, what is the success that you have had with regard to your own, again, the nest that you have and that you've nurtured?
Well, I try to teach and train my two young men to present themselves in a certain manner to be respected, to demand respect, to stand firm on their belief. That's how I try to train my two guys to present themselves and how to carry themselves. I always tell them to carry yourself with manners and respect. Respect is due to a dog. You treat every human being as they're human, no matter who they are or where you see them at. Those are the things that I install in them morally. But on the educational side, I have a 17-year-old who graduated last year at 16. He had 364 offers to 364 different colleges, 3.5 million scholarships. He chose, being that he was 16, he's still a minor now. He's 17, his second semester at Georgia Southern. He's in the honors college engineering program at Georgia Southern. This is second semester. He is the aircraft assembly technician. He made dean list at Savannah Technical College. When he was 16, he did all those things. I have a 5-year-old who's testing at second grade, third grade level in reading and math. And those are my accomplishments for my kids.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed.
Outstanding.
And so, Sarah, what are the accomplishments, what are successful things with regard to your children, to your nest that you have?
I'd say a blend of both of them, but I think for me, the most important thing that I feel like I established in my kids is their character, their morals and values, and their character. I always have taught my children since they were young that God gives us all gifts, talents, and abilities. Every last one of us, we're here on the earth. We all have a gift. We all have a talent. We all have an ability. We have to choose to train those gift, talents, and abilities. But I also taught my children that it's only through their relationship with God, which gives them and builds their character, that you can actually be kept in those places where your gifts, talents, and abilities took you to. Me having kids, same thing, excellent grades, never had to worry about my kids stealing, robbing nobody, none of that type of stuff. I had a teacher tell me 2 years ago, my son's real highly gifted. He goes to a very challenging school, and he doesn't like to do homework because he'll tell me homework is beneath me, Mom. I get an A on it, He is. He's very, very gifted. Very, very gifted. I mean, like I said, the boy could read when he was 3, and so he had a teacher call me in over and over. Matthew won't do homework. Matthew won't do homework. I said, sir, just let it be. You have to let it be. So he'll tell the teacher, if you guys choose to weight homework for a heavier grade, then I'll do the homework. However, I still get straight A's with not doing the homework. Well, the teacher, he calls us in a semester later. He said, Mrs. Garret, I misread your son. I thought he was a little spoiled, whatever little kid, because he's very articulate, whatever. He said, but your son's character, I don't care if this child doesn't ever do a homework assignment. He said, I never thought I would tell about a child. He said, but I don't care if that young man never does another homework assignment for as long as he gets himself through college. The way he treats people is something that every parent should aspire for their children to be and behave like. And that was like the end of it for me. I said, because character is what's going to keep my son wherever it is that God's gifts, talents, and abilities take him. And that's all that really truly is the most important thing for me as a parent that I've given my children.
Okay, excellent. So now I'm gonna say this, not that I want to do this. We might have to wind up doing a part 2 and get
I ain't lying, because this was a good conversation.
But I ain't saying all that, Shyann. I ain't saying that because Shyann used to bully me anyway. Shyann used to bully me anyway. And then I ain't gonna say that Sara Garret also, where I go at, she used to come in and tell them get me out of there and stuff like that. But I ain't gonna get into all that right now. But I'm gonna come down to probably the most important question that I ever ask on this show right here, and we're gonna start again. We ask everybody, get it right, get it correct. What is the best high school in Savannah, Chatham County, Georgia? So
Savannah High.
No, wait, I'm gonna please.
You already know what's going on.
Oh my God! Oh, I gotta mute her. Go, Rabbi, you first.
HVJ, my brother.
Man, y'all already know them jackets run this sky. Y'all know them jackets run this city.
Yeah.
Y'all know them jackets run this city.
The Warriors.
We go mute Shyann again.
Y'all know them jackets run this city. Often duplicated. Y'all know.
Sarah, what is the best high school in Savannah, Chatham, Georgia?
Shyann, you said you went to Savannah High too, right?
He mute me.
So I'm gonna have to actually say Savannah High, because she's the second woman I done met from Savannah High.
The High. Yeah. You know that we are from the yeah.
But I'm gonna have to say Savannah High. I done met 2 women back to back that done been grinding that went to Savannah High.
That's right. Them blue jackets. Yeah, blue and white.
This has been Run Tell That. Check out all our shows. I'm not even going to ask Shyann the question. Next time, it might be Rabbi and maybe 5 other people, but I don't know if it might be Sarah and Shyann. Just to let y'all know that. So we said, check out all our shows. Glad to have y'all with us. And this has been Run Tell That. So yes, indeed.
It was nice. Thanks for having us. Nice meeting you, Sarah.
Bye, hon.
Oh, Lord.